Hi everybody, welcome to the session Embedded Systems. In this class, we'll deal with embedded networking and what are the basic communication items needed for embedded networking. So before getting into an embedded networking, there are some basic concepts which may lead to the concept of embedded networking. So networking is the part where a communication is needed in the starting point as well as in the ending point, and in between we need an interfacing devices. So as like a computer, we need an input, we need a processor, and we need an output. Here in embedded system, we are using this input and output ports, and the CPU is an embedded system. So for this, we'll have an input port and output port. So port is a device which can transmit or receive through wire or wireless. So it can be wired or wireless. There are two parts of communication. So for input and output ports, one is serial and the other one is parallel port. So serial port is used for successive instance and parallel is used for same instance. So for communication, data transferring. So this is the diagram which will illustrate synchronous serial input serial port and output serial port. So here in the diagram you can see that data bits are transferred. So the dotted lines are the shaded parts of the diagram. So where the input port and the output port. So you can have the difference in that diagram. And the next one is that it is divided into half duplex, full duplex, right? So half duplex is the data where we'll have an one-way communication, and full duplex is the thing where we'll have a two-way communication. So for example, one-way road and two-way roads. The examples of synchronous serial communication ports. So you have to again come back from the starting. So we are seeing embedded networking. For embedded networking, we need an input and output port. So for input and output port, we are using communication devices, serial and parallel. For series and parallel, we'll have a synchronous and asynchronous modes of communication. For example, in the synchronous mode, we'll have serial peripheral interface, and in asynchronous mode, we'll have RS-232 and UART. RS-232 is a cable which we are using in day-to-day life as like for monitors in the systems, LCD projectors and other electronic devices where we need display from the processing unit. And serial communication. So serial communication is a device which will have a three modes of transmitting the devices. One is serial, isosynchronous and asynchronous. So this is the other one which is used for asynchronous mode of communication, that is RS-232 cable. So here we'll have two types of data transfer. One is based on data and the other one is based on clock. So RXD and TXD are the transmission of signals. And this is also an example of asynchronous mode, UART. So this you can have an example where the start bit is started and stop bit is intimated. And here we can use of different phases or different frequencies from zeros and ones. And this is where the diagram illustrates the input and output buses. So processor is the central part, and from the processor we'll go for memory, RAM and ROM. So from RAM and ROM we'll go for address, data and control buses, and finally these are accumulated in memory buses. And from the memory buses, input output interfaces may interface, and finally buses will distribute the data to the various branches where it is needed. So here the bus controller distributes the messages or share the messages where it is needed. And next one is the I2C, which is also a protocol used for communication. So this I2C stands for Integrated Circuit Buses. So this will connect the small area of the networks into a bundled network. So this is where the I2C bus is working. So it will connect the integrated circuit 1, integrated circuit 2 and integrated circuit 3. So it may connect or separate the data for functioning. So the I2C has two lines that will carry the signals. One is for the clock and the other one is for the directional data bus. And the next one, very important and very interesting topic is controller area network. So which is very mostly used in automotive systems. And here is a glossary points what we are going to see in the controller area network. What is a CAN bus and who can use this CAN bus and what is the history and timeline and the characteristics of CAN bus. So what is a CAN bus? As already said, it is a controller area network which is most probably used in automotive systems. So here we can connect multiple controllers with one pair of wires. So I'll show you this in the upcoming diagrams. So which is used for very speed communications. So this is where the chart illustrating the usage of CAN bus controller in the automotive segments and medical and instrumentation. So this is how the OSI layer model is designed. So how your data are transferred with the controller area network. So here we no need for security sessions or logins. No user interface is required because the systems can manipulate by itself. So this is how a simple wiring diagram is reduced, right? So in the first diagram, you can see the components are at the top 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 is same. And the control area bus components is also same, and below that also we'll have only two components, but the wires plays a major role here. So here the only one wire is connected in the control area bus network, but here we'll have a more number of wires. So this is how the message protocol transmission is oriented. So already we'll have a queue, right? So whenever an important messages comes, so it automatically leaves the way based on the priority segments. So speedometer segments, fuel indications, speedometer and your seatbelt warning indicators. So all the components get together, you are having it in a single display, but the function varies depending on the component. So here is the how the bus attribution, that is whenever an interrupt comes into a point. So a critical message from the engine, so oil pressure is less than the required level. So it is going for the warning alarm. So regular indications will be on the display, but when the oil level reduces, it is automatically trying to indicate so that the other messages are treating this as a priority one and giving way for the display. And this diagram is for the wired network before using the CAN. So the block diagrams are same: engine control, transmission control, anti-lock brakes, active suspension, dashboards, lighting, power seats, air conditioners, etc. And this is the one after the controller area network is used. So here you can notice that a single wire is connected the entire network, right? Single wire is connecting an entire network. So this is the flow chart illustrating the CAN bus controller. So how a transmission is being done. So in the normal day-to-day life, you can see the embedded, that is a controller area network in all electronic devices where we'll have the less number of wired components and increased amount of sensors and plugins. right? So hope you have all enjoyed the sessions. So with this, we'll end this session. Thank you.